footage of the explosion of the Georgia Guidestones. I was just sent this by someone who was able to access the security footage, and this is the only video out so far. This is probably the first place you're going to be able to see it. And as you can see from the aftermath footage, this monument is pretty well destroyed. At least half of it seems pretty well blown apart.
CIA documents on pain relief. If you're in pain, you might want to watch this. So I found some really interesting CIA documents. So what they're saying here is for you to focus on the part of your body that's in pain with your mind's eye, being your third eye. Then they go on to say for you to repeat the numbers 55515 until the pain is no longer in your awareness. And what's really crazy in these CIA documents, these daily tools, it says for use in your physical waking life. Waking life, like we are here to awaken. And here it is all along. CIA knows this. Of course, that's why these things have been kept secret, because they don't want us to know how to use this physical body properly. I mean, it's crazy how much stuff they know about the human body, but they are not willing to tell the public for very specific reasons. I mean, look, how to remember, how to reduce pain signals, how to reduce emotional charge, how to charge the body for great speed and strength. Here, pause and read. So if you're in pain, focus on the part of the body that's in pain with your mind's eye, your third eye. Repeat the numbers 55515 in your head until the pain is no longer in your awareness.
Dentist pulled out more than 500 teeth from a 7-year-old boy's mouth.
This is honestly the craziest story.
It really is.
It's really crazy.
Essentially, this boy, an Indian boy, was taken to the hospital because he had major swelling in his lower right jaw, like it was swelled up bad. Then when the doctors looked at it, they did an x-ray and CT scan, and they revealed that he had this like bag-like structure in his mouth, like tissue, like a tissue sac with literally 526 teeth in it. They've never seen anything like this before. It was almost like a tumor, or it was really a tumor that grew over time in this boy's mouth.
It's so weird. Why would a body do that?
Well, this is what's so interesting about this, is that they think there could be a connection to them being so close to cell towers.
Billionaire businessman Jeffrey Epstein was arrested in New York Saturday on federal charges related to sex trafficking.
This on Jeffrey Epstein, a source telling ABC News the multi-millionaire and convicted sex offender is now on suicide watch after he was found injured and unresponsive in his jail cell.
News, Jeffrey Epstein found dead in jail this morning. A New York Fire Department source telling Fox News that he was transported out of the Manhattan Correction Center just hours ago. There are reports his death was an apparent suicide. This comes just 2 weeks after Epstein was placed on suicide watch.
FBI agents arrested Ghislaine Maxwell yesterday, nearly 1 year to the day after Epstein was arrested.
Her attorney wants to postpone Tuesday's hearing because Maxwell was suddenly moved to solitary confinement. Her counsel says Maxwell took a test which proves she is not suicidal, but now that she's in solitary, she can't properly prepare for sentencing. Maxwell is facing up to 55 years in prison for sex trafficking for helping her then boyfriend, financier Jeffrey Epstein, abuse girls.
And you'll never see me coming.
It was reported that you continue to meet with him over several years, and that, in other words, a number of meetings. Is there a lesson for you, for anyone else looking at this?
Well, he's dead, so in general, you always have to be careful.
Right? So when Michael started to break down, his body was breaking down. His nose was artificial. I don't know if y'all noticed. Go back and Google Michael Jackson nose. It looks like a robot because it wasn't him. All right? His whole head was a wig. It was a cap because when they first cloned Michael, he didn't have any hair. It all burnt off in the Pepsi commercial. They put Michael in a capsule and cloned him. Brought him back 2 years as the clone, and Michael Jackson was watching all of this like, I can't believe they're doing this. So what happened to Michael? He just lived his life. Michael Jackson is still alive. He's already appeared on TV, but y'all didn't even know who he was. Go back and watch the CNN of Larry King, the guy with the glasses, with the real bad burnt victim that played like Michael Jackson saved him when he was a kid. That's Michael Jackson. It burned him so bad it disfigured him. It tore up his skin. It did everything to him. You understand what I'm telling you? And also, after Michael was cloned, the real Michael Jackson, they bleached his skin so he would look nothing like Michael. If you look at the dude who was on Larry King telling you about his childhood, how Michael Jackson helped him, he looks just like Michael. Just look at his eyes. That's Michael Jackson. He's disfigured. That's how he looked when he got done with the Pepsi commercial. And they knew the world wasn't ready to see that Michael Jackson, so they had to keep him alive. Remember what I said prior. They've been cloning since 1945. So Michael comes back 2 years later. He looks nothing like the real Michael Jackson, but people buy into it. He can still dance because the clones is good mimickers. They're good at mimicking, man. That's what they do. So he got all his moves, but he was a little bit stiffer. I don't know if y'all look at the old Michael and then look at the new Michael. He's a little bit stiffer.
With all of that drag queen story hour and all of that stuff, they try to target the children with that stuff. And family, these stories keep coming out. This story came out the other day with all of that drag queen story hour. This guy right here, this is an LGBT activist. He runs he's the head of he's a community organizer out there in Pennsylvania at the Center for LGBT Youth. He runs a center for a lot of LGBT youths, white and black, a lot of white kids. And right here, Central PA drag queen activist charged with 25 counts of child pornography. 15 years for former Netflix cheer star Jerry Harris in child pornography case. They kept showing little subtle images of that pedophile sign. This is from the Eureka thing. Y'all see that symbol in the back? I catch all that stuff. You see that symbol in the back? Now look at that symbol in the back. Now, I keep warning you guys about cartoons with that symbol. I keep warning you guys about cartoons with that symbol in the back. I keep warning people, in every cartoon you see, especially by Disney, they have that symbol in the back, or they have that symbol in there. That's a pedophile symbol, guys.
Karen Crow, Louisiana. Watch this, please.
Whatsoever. Until we got into unload. Peep this video. Crazy. At the docks, though? Hey, yo, you hear that?
At the docks, though?
I know what the fuck that is.
You say at the docks, though?
I know what the fuck that is. That bitch followed me the fuck in. Oh, at the docks, though? No way. No way.
And she followed his ass. Definitely followed him in. Now check this out, right?
I'ma find your ass. You watch. To all 11,000 of you who were with me last night when this video was going live, I appreciate y'all. We witnessed something crazy.
So, he talking about the live because people thought he was lying. You know what I'm saying?
Source 90. The government is legit here. Peep game, let's be sneaky. Now, let's check out these motherfuckers.
So look.
We gotta be out here doing testing. Testing what?
They came to his boat and started doing testing. You see this? This after, hold on. So, this is after he had been making all those little TikTok compilations of hearing these sirens, right? Then the government decides to come to his boat and do testing all of a sudden. And then after that, his TikToks get deleted. And then after that, it's reported that he's supposed to get in some type of car accident. Now, you put all that shit together and you let me know what it is. You feel me?
Cut! So it's not neat. Dry pants now. Let's check out these motherfuckers.
Government on this ship now.
You got me out here doing testing?
Doing testing.
Testing what? What the fuck are you guys testing? That's what I want to know.
Feel me? Trying to keep the truth from people.
Oh no. Source 90 has heard certain things out in the ocean, and then my TikTok gets banned, and then the government shows up my boat. It's too many fucking coincidences.
You heard what he said? Heard what he said? He had been recording all them TikToks, and there was people that thought he was acting, like how people in here coming, he acting. That's why he said, like, thank you for the people that was with me on my live when they heard the sounds live.
Shou Chu, which is the CEO of TikTok. You guys keep saying I'm going against community guidelines and taking my content down. Quit doing that before I have to come over to China and straighten shit out over there. Now that we got that out of the way, let's get into the content. Interesting enough, China is back on strict lockdown due to C-19 breakout. Some of the Chinese people are literally killing themselves, committing suicide because they don't have access to any food or water, literally screaming from their houses saying they need help. And what is more alarming is that they have walking drone dogs on the streets telling people to get back in their houses. And you don't think this shit is coming right here in America, you gotta be tripping, right? They have flying drones as well. Get back in the house. You're on lockdown. I know seeing is believing to a lot of you folks out there, so let me show you a quick video of what I'm talking about.
Shanghai remains eerily empty. 26 million people under a massive COVID lockdown, relying on government deliveries, and anger is soaring. Social media showing videos of protests over food and medicine, a supermarket ransacked. At a building where residents have been locked down for 2 weeks, they shout, "We only want supplies. Why are you beating people?" At night, the echoes of people crying out from their windows for help. With the Omicron variant surging here, China is tightening its strict zero COVID rules to contain what is now the country's worst outbreak ever. Tens of thousands of asymptomatic people being corralled into mass quarantine centers. In some cases, children have been separated from their parents, triggering public outcry. American Josh Vaughn got swept up in the dragnet. He's trying to keep his business going from a hospital.
This is the hardest thing I've ever done in my life.
2 years into the pandemic, there is no easing up on zero COVID here. Robots patrol some streets, reminding people to wear masks.
Here in Beijing, even when there's one case, an entire neighborhood is blocked off. You can see deliveries are passed through a window.
In Shanghai, drones tell people to stay home. Control your soul's desire for freedom, it says, as more cities double down with restrictions.
So as I was on my way home, I stopped to grab a couple things at the store, and there were some National Guards guys in there. They're here in town training for a few weeks, and they were grabbing some Gatorades and stuff like that. And I just kind of joked with them as a vet to a guy in uniform, and I said, "Hey, you guys training for Russians?" And the man looks me dead in the eye and he goes, "No, sir. Civil unrest." What? So they're training the National Guard for civil unrest? What they gonna do? Why are they gonna need you guys, I asked. And he goes, "I don't know. But we're told it probably isn't even gonna be here in South Dakota."
Y'all remember the movie The Terminator? It starred Arnold Schwarzenegger as the Terminator. He was a cyborg assassin sent back in time from 2029 to 1984 to kill Sarah Connor, whose unborn son will be one day save mankind from extinction by Skynet. Remember Skynet? It was a hostile artificial intelligence in a post-apocalyptic future, right? What if I told you there's an actual surveillance program called Skynet, and this is a real thing? Skynet is a program by the U.S. National Security Agency that performs machine learning analysis on communications data to extract information about possible terror suspects. What if I told you that Google plays a big part in this? This was in 2014. Google acquires human-like AI company for $500 million. Skynet is now a real possibility. Continuing its rather intimidating streak of acquisitions, Google has acquired the British artificial intelligence company DeepMind for about $500 million. In 2016, the NSA's Skynet program may be killing thousands of innocent people. Bet y'all didn't hear about this. In 2014, the former director of both the CIA and NSA proclaimed that we kill people based on metadata. Now, a new examination of previously published Snowden documents suggests that many of these people may have been innocent. Last year, The Intercept published documents detailing the NSA Skynet program. According to the documents, Skynet engages in mass surveillance of Pakistan's mobile phone network and then uses a machine learning algorithm on the cellular network metadata of 55 million people to try and rate each person's likelihood of being a terrorist. These people were mostly killed by drone attack, but they're not even sure if they were guilty or not. In 2019, the U.S. and its allies are getting serious about armed ground robots. They're ran by artificial intelligence. You can read about them right here. Pause and read. Now, all of a sudden, a Google engineer was put on leave after claiming sentient AI bot is scared. He published transcripts of remarkable conversations between himself and the bot, which included a claim from the robot that being turned off would be like death. Google's former executive sends doomsday warning as researchers are creating God. This was in 2021. A former Google executive has warned about the dangers of AI when he astonishingly claimed researchers are creating God. The Egyptian-born entrepreneur was struck by a terrifying revelation about the future of AI after witnessing an eerie moment in the firm's R&D labs. The epiphany came after he saw AI developers collaborating with Google X on the dexterous robotic arm. And remember, scientists craft living skin for robots made of human cells. Movie's coming to life.
What are your thoughts? Watch till the end.
I was given a classified tape showing part of the Apollo mission being falsified, of lunar orbit being falsified.
Being falsified?
Correct. We got an unedited tape from a source at the Johnson Space Center.
Totally nonsense.
We wanted to give you the opportunity to swear in the Bible that you orbited the moon during Apollo 15.
Okay, thank you very much.
Just one last question. If you orbited the moon, why do you have a problem swearing to God that you did so?
Sir, I don't, but I don't feel like I have to do that because data speaks for itself.
Well, we have proof that the mission was falsified.
No, you don't have to. Sir,
well, we do.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Thank you here. Thank you.
All righty. Howdy, Bart Sibrel, ABC Digital. I was given a classified tape from Apollo 11 showing them taking the photography of lunar orbit.
Why don't you quote me and say it's bullshit?
Well, would you mind swearing on the Bible that you orbited the moon?
Come on.
If you really orbited the moon, why would you have a problem swearing to God that you did so?
Mr. Anderson, can I take a picture with you real quick, sir? Oh, we are. No more, we're through. Okay, thank you, sir.
I've got on the tape Neil Armstrong rigging part of the photography where it puts that.
That'll tell you how screwed up. Thank you, Mr. Anderson.
Well, if you really walked on the moon, why do you have a problem? Orbited the moon, why do you have a problem swearing to God that you did so?
Would you please just stay back?
Howdy, Buzz.
Who's that?
How's it going? Remember me?
What's your name?
Bart Sibrel.
Would you give your name to my assistant?
Yeah, I got one for you, one for your lawyer to sue me.
That's right.
I hope you do.
I'd
I'd love to go to court and show the window shot.
I know you'd like to get a lot of attention, wouldn't you?
Well, you're the one getting money for something you didn't do. You're getting a lecture for walking on the moon when you didn't. Well, that's called being a thief.
Why don't you just
That's called being a thief. Do you think you can get to heaven without repenting? Why don't you swear on the Bible that you walked, who said you walked on the moon when you didn't? Calling the kettle black, if I ever thought of it. Saying I misrepresented myself.
Away from me.
You're a coward and a liar and a thief. Mr. Armstrong, Bart Sibrel, ABC Digital. Wanted to give you the opportunity to swear on the Bible that you walked on the moon. Will you put your left hand on the Bible and swear to God that you walked on the moon?
Gentlemen. Mr. Sibrel.
Yes? If you really walked on the moon, why would you not do that? So why don't you just put the end to the record in the argument and put your hand on the Bible, swear to God you walked on the moon.
Mr. Sibrel, knowing you, that's probably a fake Bible.
Really? Well, no, it's a real Bible. You have the opportunity to have $5,000.
The meeting is not open.
Well, you have $5,000 cash. You can give it to charity if you swear on the Bible that you walked on the moon.
Please
I have
give
the
it to
tape.
charity. It'd be fine.
Why don't you swear to? Why not? Why won't you do it? So why don't you put your hand on the Bible and swear to God that you walked on the moon?
Mr. Sibrel has made a fool of himself in front of the world. Mr.
Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Responsible leader. He wanted to get back home after the war, so he really watched his P's and Q's. He and his unit had taken off in about 5 or 6 choppers and were headed to the next rendezvous point. The land they were flying over was generally peaceful. He was the lead of the cluster of choppers, and everything was going smoothly for the first 10 or 15 minutes of the flight. Then darkness fell. Alright fellas, throw your goggles on, it's time to go dark. He no sooner gave the order when suddenly his gunner started ringing out shots. The captain thought, what the hell? He didn't understand what he was shooting at as they were flying over a peaceful area. He gets up from the passenger seat at the front of the chopper and starts heading back towards the gunner and sees that he's shooting not at the ground at the enemy, but in mid-air, parallel to the chopper. The other choppers notice this and suddenly make evasive moves because he was literally shooting in their direction. "Cease fire, soldier! What the hell are you shooting at?" said the officer. The soldier stops suddenly. He can see that he is sweating bullets and his eyes are dilated as if he's on pure adrenaline. Knowing that drugs were a problem in Vietnam at this time, he quickly glanced him over and realized he didn't exhibit any behavior of being intoxicated. "Right there, sir! Right there! They're flying right next to us! Don't you see them?" The officer glances over. There's nothing there. "Calm down, soldier. I'm not seeing what you're looking at." "Right there! There's some on the treetops. 2 of them. They're looking at me." A couple more shots ring out. "Cease fire!" Confused, the officer doesn't understand what's going on. Then he looks at the guy. The group's the officer is dumbfounded. He can tell by the look in the soldier's eyes. He believes what he's saying. "Describe them, soldier." "Sir, they have wings. They're about 7 to 8 feet tall. Their faces look almost like gargoyles, and they have horns. They almost remind me of demons." "Aw, come on, soldier, get a grip, get your act together." Then he takes a step back and looks directly at the soldier's goggles. He then hears the voice of his superior. The officers and the pilots are not to wear the goggles. That's when a light bulb goes off. "Give me your night vision goggles, soldier." He hands them over to the officer. He puts them on, and he cannot believe what he sees. Off in the distance, looking at him, are 2 winged creatures that look like demons straight from hell. They look at him and then back at each other, and it seems as if they are saying something. And then suddenly, they look at him and begin flying straight at him. He rips the goggles off. What the hell was that? He cannot believe what he just witnessed. After tearing the goggles off as fast as he could, he looks back up and they're gone. What in the world did I just see? After having this experience, he ran straight to the front of the chopper, got on the mic, and commanded the entire crew to take off the goggles. The rest of the team took them off and everything was back to normal. They didn't wear them until the green night vision goggles came out. After the incident, the officer described to his superiors that for the next few months, he had night terrors and continued seeing these entities. And he wasn't the only one. His crew was having the same issue. It took them months to get over just that initial short wearing of the red night vision goggles. He'd notify his superiors and later receive praise for the quick action he took when running into the problem. They'd soon find out that the night vision being in red was what allowed them to see these evil entities. For some reason, the combo of red and the night vision combined allowed them to see almost in another dimension, much like the Decianin. And the majority of the soldiers that experienced these night vision goggles all say the same thing. They were all around them, and it seemed as though they were around us at all times. We just don't see them because they're at a different frequency. They'd eventually switch to the green night vision goggles and have no more issues for the rest of the war. But even today, soldiers claim that when using the green night vision goggles, that they often see UFOs that they would have never seen with the naked eye. So what do you think? Do you think these different colors allowed them to see into another realm? Could we be surrounded by angelic beings? Let me know in the comments.
This large yet little known granite box, which is now on display at the Cairo Museum in Egypt, is said to have been abandoned by the Egyptians due to a mistake in the cut as you see here, thus forcing them to discard and move on to another block of stone. But as the saying goes, the devil is in the details, and this off-centered slanted cut, which is the reason why it is said to have been discarded, is actually strong supportive evidence that they were using a method of tooling that far exceeds anything known or believed to have been possible to have been possessed by the ancient Egyptians. Because, make no mistake, if this error had been done with a slow, primitive copper-based saw, as has been widely theorized and, in fact, intensely claimed by modern researchers, then surely the ancients cutting this stone would have noticed the error and corrected it far sooner. I mean, let's not forget that when the alleged copper-based saws were tested on granite by leading Egyptologists, the results proved to be so unbelievably slow that it's remarkable that some still choose to even suggest it. In fact, during this demonstration, they were only able to cut at a rate of 4 millimeters an hour, which is so astonishingly slow that it's not even remotely feasible. I mean, do the math, and 4 millimeters an hour equates to less than 1 inch every 6 hours of non-stop labor-filled handwork. So if that were actually the case, then clearly the people cutting this stone would have noticed the error immediately. In fact, at this slow rate, they would have noticed the mistake literally days ahead of time and would have not continued to cut this stone block without surely noticing the inaccuracy. That is, unless they were using a method of tooling that cuts at a rate that is far, far quicker than what we're aware of or even thought was possible.
Eminem clone malfunction.
Your head. Yeah, I wouldn't wish that on nobody.
You should address the camera because right now there's a lot of people probably
stay out of my head.
Good to see you.
You want some figures? Okay, latest water test. Tested the rain. 13,100 micrograms per liter of aluminum in the rain in 2013. Normally, it should be 0. So 13,100 is pretty damn much, folks. It used to be 0, then it was 100s in the 2000s, and then since 2010, it's into the 1000s and the latest 13,100. In the snow on Mount Shasta, pristine Mount Shasta, 61,000 feet, no, excuse me, 8,000 foot level, 61,000 micrograms per liter, 4 times the amount that is found in the soil up there. Where in the hell is this stuff coming from if it's not coming from the soil? You know, these tests are international in scope. We're seeing this all over the world, guys. Okay, pH of acid soils is 20 times more alkaline. The aluminum in the soil has doubled in the last 10 years. Aluminum blocks essential nutrients. I am unable in my garden to restore normal pH, and that's because nanoparticles are now in the circulatory systems of both plants and humans. So welcome, fellow guinea pigs. The collapse and decrease of agriculture is something I worry about even more than the previous info about autism and Alzheimer's.